Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel on this beautiful day that we're having here in Cleveland. So in this video I wanted to talk about how I increased my uterine lining from a 6.6 to a 10.6 in just 3 days. So let me give you a little backstory before I get into how I did that. So back in 2016, my husband and I went through IVF and were able to conceive our daughter, who is now 2. We have recently started trying for baby number 2. We've gone through 2 failed frozen embryo transfers, and we are in our 3rd transfer. So for this 3rd transfer, when I went in for my first lining, it came back as a 6.6 and a single layer lining, which usually for IVF they look for at least an 8 and they want to see it trilaminar. So mine was considered thin, and my estradiol levels came back at 128, which is also pretty low. So the first thing they did was change my protocol a little bit. So my original protocol was that I was taking 2 estrace in the morning and 2 estrace at night, and then they added in half of an estrace tablet vaginally at bedtime. So that was the change to my protocol, and I was to do the vaginal estrace until transfer. So that was that. And I guess I should mention too that they were giving me 4 days, and then they were going to do another ultrasound to see if my lining had increased at all. And if it had not increased, then they were going to cancel that cycle. So within these 4 days, this is what I did. I started drinking the bone broth. I drank at least 1 cup of that a day. And I think the first day I even may have drank 2 or 3 cups of it. You can buy, I try to buy the organic kind. If you can't make it yourself, I would recommend trying to buy a natural organic kind. So that's what I did. I started taking baby aspirin. So baby aspirin is known to decrease inflammation. It also helps thin out your blood to create a thicker uterine lining. And it also helps to keep cysts and whatnot out of your uterine lining as well. Another thing I did was elevate my heart rate. So you want to make sure that you're getting up and you're walking around and you're elevating your heart rate. You don't want to do any strenuous exercises where you're sweating and out of breath, but you do want to make sure that you're elevating your heart rate. So, and another thing is you actually want to try not to sweat, because you don't want your body having to work towards creating more sweat. You want it working towards building a thicker lining. So you just want to keep that in mind. That's what I always keep in mind, that you want to focus all of your body's energy at creating a baby. So, yes. I started drinking a ton of water, just chugging it, drinking gallons of water a day. Probably not gallons, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but I drank more water than I was drinking. I increased it a lot. Water is extremely important when you're going through the IVF process. I started wearing socks to bed, which I don't know if this has any truth to it or not, but they say that keeping your feet warm helps the blood flow circulate in your body better, because then your body is not trying to warm your feet, warm your hands. So I wore socks to bed. I went to bed earlier, so I made it a point to make sure that I was in bed and sleeping by 10:30 at the very latest. And then I ate healthier. So I was trying to take a different approach this round of IVF and not be so crazy with everything that I eat and everything, and just be more relaxed, and clearly it backfired on me. So I resorted back to what I normally do, and I ate healthier. I cut out dairy and red meat, and I just tried to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and foods that would digest in my body easier, so that again my body was focusing on creating a good living space for my little embryos instead of trying to burn off food and whatnot. And that's about all I did that I can really think of. I think obviously those things helped. I was able to increase my uterine lining by 4 within just 3 days. So I feel like that was really good, given the circumstance that it took me 14 days to get to a 6.6, and then in just 4 days I was able to get to a 10.6 and have the trilaminar layer. The trilaminar, I don't know the correct wording on that, but it was the trilaminar lining. There we go. And then I just did want to mention as well, so at my second blood draw, my estradiol levels were at 1,120. When I got pregnant with my daughter, they were at 1,802, so they were definitely much closer. And then when I got pregnant with my daughter, my lining was at a 16.4. So then after this, I obviously didn't transfer for another week, and I'm currently in my 2-week wait actually. But yeah, so I'm hoping that my lining continued to thicken. I continued doing all of those things, as well as the vaginal estrase. And so when I went in for my transfer, they said that my lining looked amazing. So fingers crossed, 3rd time's the charm. We transferred 2 embryos this time. It was our first time transferring 2. So now I'm just hoping and praying that one of these little babies, if not both, stick with us, and I'm just taking it easy and relaxing. So yeah, if anybody has gone through a similar situation, I wanted to just film this video in hopes that maybe I could help you out. And yeah, that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss if we have a pregnancy announcement. And I hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye!